Hi, I'm Catherine from Trunketabella, and today we're here with Fyona from PipeWolf Videography, and we're going to be talking about choosing a videographer for your special day, your wedding, or your special event, and how to best go about looking at who might be best to suit that need that you have. So welcome, Fyona, and let's have a little chat about who you are and what you do.
Thank you. So I'm Fiona from PipeWolf Weddings. Dave, my husband, and I are wedding videographers. We love to create videos for people that represent their actual story and style as a couple. So we don't put people into templates. We let the films reflect them on the day. We're based in Wollongong on the south coast of New South Wales, but we love to travel. We're always darting here, there, and everywhere. And our biggest passion is just letting people have films that they love, because after the wedding day, you will watch your wedding video over and over and over again. So we feel special that in 30 years' time, people will be watching the films that we create for them, which is a bit scary, but a bit exciting at the same time.
Well, I guess also too, they're a really great resource to be able to use for the people who couldn't make it, or even, if you want to, when you have babies and all of that, and they want to know what happened when mum and dad got married. There's this level of nostalgia that you're able to bring into the rest of the family dynamic.
Oh, totally. And when you think about it, you'll probably never have that group of people all at the same place, all at the same time, ever again. And yeah, there's the plus and minuses of, some of the people at your wedding won't be in your lives forever. They might pass away, or they might move away. And then other people don't exist yet because you're going to make them. They haven't been born yet. Or even if your children are at the wedding, they might be really young. And I say to people all the time, photos are awesome. You definitely need a great professional wedding photographer to capture your day. But photos can't capture everything. And if you try and think back to even your engagement party or your 18th party or whatever, and you try and remember the speeches and what happened and who was there, you're going to struggle. So having a wedding film and capturing all those moments, you've gone to all the trouble of putting on this amazing wedding, to capture it as much as possible for those memories is really important.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so we'll get straight into the questions here. And, if I was a consumer, I'm wanting to look for a videographer for, let's just say, my wedding, and this applies pretty much to any event that you're hosting, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But as the consumer, and I'm thinking about hiring you, what are the things that I need to consider even before I pick up the phone?
Okay. So basically, the more that you know about your own event or your own wedding, the easier the conversation will go for both of you. Otherwise, there'll just be a lot of blank spaces. So the biggest key thing is a date and a venue. So the date is obvious, because the first question the videographer wants to answer is, are they actually available to do the event for you? If they're not available, then there's not a whole lot to talk about. And the venue is important for a couple of reasons. One, it might incur travel fees for the videographer if it's out of their travel radius. And also, it's good to know because it sets the tone for the event. So if you say that it's an outdoor wedding, for example, that's different and requires slightly different equipment to it maybe being indoor in an old church of limited lighting. So that is just helpful information. If you don't know for sure, that's not the end of the world, but the more information you can provide, the more they can give you a stable quote, which is always helpful.
Yeah. And is it important in that initial preparation stage for myself before I pick up the phone, is it important for me to have a price point before I even get to calling anybody?
It is. I really recommend that you do as much research as possible before you make contact. So you do need to know your budget. Like, one of the biggest things that we say to people is go with your gut, follow your heart. Don't pick someone because they're the cheapest. Pick someone because you love them. You obviously still need to know what your budget is, but you want to look at more than just price off the bat. You want to look at what everybody offers in their packages, because it's not all the same. You're not comparing apples with apples. You want to look at the personalities of these videos. Like, this is what you're going to be watching in 30 years' time. Do you like the music that they picked? Do you like the editing style? Do you like the kind of shot? These are like, if you're watching a highlights film, these are the shots that this person thought was a highlight. You know, did you think that that was highlight worthy? And most of all, you just want to like those people. So you get a vibe for them through the website. Look at the About Us page. Look at how their social media. To think, this person's going to be there on my wedding day, watching me get ready, watching me in some of the most stressful and intimate moments of my life. You want someone that you feel like you kind of resonate with. So you do need to look at price, and you do need to be clear, you know, what do you want covered on the day? Do you want from getting ready right through to the end of the reception? Or do you just want the ceremony, or like what sections do you want? But you also need to know what they offer. Like, do you want drones? Do you want more than one videographer? Do you want them to do, you know, like a same day edit? Or do you want them to do, you know, something special for you? And do they provide that? So those kind of questions are important. Also, I will just mention, in terms of price, it's actually all about the editing. The editing is really what you're paying for on a wedding. So a lot of people want just the ceremony covered because they think, oh, that will be a lot cheaper than having the full day covered. And that may be the case, but I know, like for us, for example, and for other people, the hours on the day isn't actually what's costing you. It's not what's changing the price package. It's how much editing is involved and how many films we're producing at the end. That's where the time is. So yeah, a lot of people, they actually, because to block out a smaller day for filming, they still lose that day to book any other weddings. So it's a bit of a false economy thinking if I get them to film less, it'll be cheaper. I know for us, the thing that would make it like cheaper or more affordable is to reduce the film offering at the end, not the coverage on the day. So that's just a little tip for people that are looking to work with their budget.
Yes, it's really important because often people, you know, they just want to equate dollars for what they can see, and they don't realize that as for you as a service provider, you're providing an entire service, and the portion of the service that is contact hours is the easy bit. Like, that's the easy fun bit. All right, so they might be there for 6 or 8 hours or however, whatever the amount is, but then they go away and they spend 40 or 50 hours behind the scenes watching, rewatching, editing, snipping, making it beautiful, putting in beautiful highlights and all of this wonderful stuff that you sit down and watch your 5-minute video at the end and you go, oh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's worth it, but when you say, oh, can you just not film this part of the day and you expect the price to halve, it's just not how it really works.
Good.
Yeah.
It's really important for someone who's a videographer to know up front, like that, to expect this. It's not so much contact hours, it's that plus what we do behind the scenes to get you your end result.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. So you did do a lot of talking about what it is that you need to get clear about, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So if we can specifically pinpoint 3 or 4 key questions that me as a consumer, if I'm to pick up the phone to you and ring you and say, hey, Fyona, you know, I'm thinking about hiring a videographer, what are the 3 or 4 key questions that I would really be wise to ask you to know whether or not you're going to be a good fit for me?
Yeah, sure. So I would say one of them would be about the process leading up to the day. So you want to know all about the terms and conditions up front. And any good videographer or good wedding vendor for that matter will have clear terms and conditions that talk about payment, they talk about copyright licensing, and how the whole process is going to pay out, unfold. So you want to know those up front. You don't want any nasty surprises, especially around your wedding day. So I would be asking for that. I would be asking what their process is on the day. What kind of equipment are they bringing? You do not want your wedding to turn into like a Hollywood film set with, all these people running around with cameras in your face. You want a videographer who's got lightweight equipment, they're unobtrusive, they know how to work with your photographer and team up. You don't want like a clash there. So I would ask about their experience working with other vendors, what their processes are working with the other vendors. A good videographer and photographer will contact each other before the day, have a chat about how they're going to work together. So when they arrive on the day, they're actually already have a rapport and team up really nicely. You also want to be very clear about what's included in your package, what the expected time frame is for that to be delivered, and you want to be clear about what I don't say rules, but what the expectations are from both of you around what's required for this to work. So, for example, your videographer expects you to get, this is again in terms and conditions, but it's your responsibility to get permission to get photos or filming in like a botanic gardens or something like that. And it's their responsibility to make sure that they've covered certain aspects of your day and make sure that they include certain things. So it's just good to have those chats up front about basically just don't assume anything, just ask all the questions that you need to ask when you call. I hope that answers the question.
Well, I think basically, I've never personally hired a videographer, and so, I could do a little bit of Google, I could think about what I would like personally, but I think at the end of the day, what you're talking about is to be able to have effective communication between the two of us. So if there's a question, my favourite question is when we finish, you talk, I talk, and then you say, is there anything else I can help you with? Is there anything else you want to know? My favourite thing to say is, I don't know, I've never done this before. Is there anything else I need to know?
Yeah.
So that way it puts it out there as saying, well, I can't ask the question if I don't really know what it is that I need to know. But do you think, given what information you have, is there anything else you would think to advise me of or tell me that I need to do, or any of those kind of things?
Yeah, definitely. And that's when the terms and conditions come in handy, because I know for us, they cover a lot. Like if you finish reading those, you should have most questions answered. And we also have quite an exhaustive, like frequently asked questions list on our website. And I know that a lot of other videographers do as well. So that can be helpful as well to identify all of those little gaps in your knowledge. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Would you recommend that, maybe even before you contact via phone or anything, would it be worth just surfing around and looking for everybody's terms and conditions so that you can get a bit of an idea in your head as to whether or not they might be a good fit for you, and then you can take that to the next, hey, I want to have an actual conversation with this supplier?
Yeah, I think the more that you can research, the more that you can watch everyone's videos and read through their websites, the more that you can, you want to contact less people, because you don't want to have all these conversations going on. So my recommendation to approach it would just be to watch all the videos first and pick the videos that you like. And then once you've found 2 or 3 videographers and you're like, I really love these videos, then do a bit more of a deep dive and go, okay, what's their About Me page? What's their FAQs? What's the terms and conditions? What do they say about how they work on their website? And then contact either all 3 or just 2 or 1, but yeah, that way you're contacting people and you're already quite keen and you've already educated yourself a lot, and you're just ringing up to confirm information that you've read on the website and then ask questions that weren't quite answered for you. But that, it would mean that you're kind of hitting more birds with less stones, basically, than just contacting. It's exhausting to contact a whole stack of people and then they're all following you up because they don't know that they're one of 20 people that you contacted. And then you're kind of, yeah, it can just get a bit of the inbox will become a nightmare.
Well, it's overwhelming. It's an overwhelm you don't really need when you're planning an overwhelming an event, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So that extra hour that you spend clicking around online, looking at their websites, will pay off for you.
Yeah. So I know you've covered a bit of this, but if we can specifically say in 3 or 4 finger points here, as we're doing, how do you really know if they're a good fit for you?
Well, like I said, liking their films is the big part because that's what you're going to be left with, and that's essentially what you're paying for. You also have to like them as people. You have to kind of get along with them. If this is a person and they are already, a bit of a cringe, or you think, yeah, I wouldn't really feel comfortable having that person with me for 10 hours straight on my wedding day, they're probably not the right person for you. They need to also, you need to feel like they get you. So having people that have maybe filmed similar style weddings to you, or when you explain your wedding plans, they get excited about it. You want people that are going to be as invested as you are. You also want someone that's organized and professional. So if all they have is a Facebook page and one video and, they don't really seem that set up, they probably maybe they don't have the insurance in place. You just want to make sure that it's someone who is going to give you a professional job.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about having fun and being in love with the person that's going to provide you with this, but also you need to be assured that they can do what they say they're going to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, well, talking about being able to do what you say you're going to do, what are some red flags to stay away from? Like if I was talking to someone and they said these 2 or 3 things or didn't say these 2 or 3 things, what are some big red flags to definite no's?
Yeah. So number one, I would steer clear of anybody that doesn't have clear terms and conditions. It's all vague and they don't really seem professional. That would be a huge no for me. I would also keep in mind if it is somebody who's doing photography and videography as a package, which can be a great option, you want to make sure that the videography part of that service is an actual person filming on the day, not just a camera on a tripod, because you might not be happy with if someone stands in front of that tripod, for example, and that's the only tripod that's filming your wedding. That might not make you super happy, and having one person do both can mean that they're distracted on the day and they're not doing either job super well. So I would always recommend having a dedicated photographer and videographer, even if it is the same company providing both. It's a 2-person job right there. You want to know that they have, like I said, all of those insurances in place. And one of the biggest red flags is about how they, if they're a super bargain basement, we're the cheapest in town. Well, that's often for a reason. And you don't really want bargain basement associated with your wedding in general. I mean, you obviously want an affordable, budget-friendly price, but you can get that without having to go to the cheapest people in town. Also, if they have a big song and dance about how quickly they get the video to you, that's my biggest red flag of all. Because at the end of filming, let's say it's a 10-hour wedding package and you've got 2 videographers, they're going to walk away with a lot of footage from that day.
Yeah.
And if they're telling you that they're going to have it ready for you within 24 hours or 48 hours or, these kind of turnarounds, imagine the corners that they must be cutting. Like they're not going through all that footage. They're not hunting out every magical moment and truly capturing a highlight film for you. They're just, in general, to do that, you have to have a very clear template and you're just dumping footage into that template to produce basically the same wedding film for everybody. And you can pick them because you watch their wedding. This is again where your research comes in. You watch the wedding films on their website and they're all exactly the same. Like you can begin to predict it. You go, and there's the shot of the groom and there's the shot of the flowers. And that's what they're doing. They're putting you into a template and they're manufacturing your wedding, which, isn't normally people's cup of tea. That's my biggest red flag. Your wedding is not worth rushing. You've probably been engaged for over a year. You didn't rush this process, so you don't want your suppliers to rush it either.
Yeah. So, as a consumer, like me, okay, I'm the bride. I'm saying, Fiona, yes, please, let's go ahead with this. I really want you there.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing, right? You know exactly what's required of you and what you have to do to get the end result. Me, on the other hand, I've just said to you, come and do your magic, please. So to make sure that I make your time with me as effortless and seamless as it possibly can be so that you can give me what I've asked for, what do I need to do to help you?
Yeah. Okay. So our two biggest tips or keys for that would be great communication before the day and confidence on the day. So leading up to the day, we all want to communicate with each other very clearly. It's always frustrating when you're sending a bride an email and they don't get back to you for weeks and you're like, so, they haven't filled out the paperwork. They haven't agreed to, we like to do a meeting beforehand to get to know each other. So just communicating, like we don't need very much before the day, but just getting those things on time is really helpful. Then the biggest thing on the day is confidence and understanding that your photographer and your videographer both have the same goal, and their goal is to capture your day and make it feel like you're in love and you're having fun. And so the more that you can actually just be in love and having fun, the better, and the less direction and harassment that you'll get from the people capturing it for you. So I always say to people, this is not an episode of The Office. Don't have a kiss and then look directly down the barrel of the camera because, you don't want a video where you're spending the whole time looking at yourself through the video.
Yeah.
So ignore the cameras. I know that's easier said than done, but that's where the confidence comes in, to just ignore the cameras, say hello to your videographer, but basically ignore them as much as possible once the day kicks in. And don't look at the cameras, just look at each other. And the more that you're enjoying each other's presence and just, hugging your guests, snuggling and kissing with, this amazing person that you've just married, your photographer and videographer will shut up and just click away. That's what they want. And so, and you just stand there stiffly and you're saying, what do I do? What do I do? Then they have to, well, maybe you should look at each other and happy that you just got married.
Yeah.
So, that's our biggest tip, is forget that the cameras are there and just focus on the fact that you married your best friend and be excited about that.
Fantastic. All right, well, I think we might bring that to a close. Skype seems to be having a bit of a brain fart.
No problem.
But awesome. Thank you so much, Fiona, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.
No problem. Thank you.